Welcome everybody to the National Press Club. I'm Bill Gertz with the Washington Free Beacon, and today we're going to have a conversation with Kuo Wing Gui, also known as Miles Kwa. Until today, we probably have not heard much from him unless you've seen YouTube or some other dissident Chinese broadcasts and some English language publications. But today, he's going to be here and we're going to have a conversation. The format will be that I will ask questions and we'll have a back and forth exchange. And then toward the end, we'll take some questions from the audience. Miles, welcome. Good to see you again. You have been creating quite a stir, not just in the United States, but throughout China. And I would like to ask you to tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are today. How did you end up where we are today?
Thank you, Bill. First of all, I would like to say good morning to Bill and all the friends present in the audience. It is a very difficult, arduous achievement for me to be alive and sitting in front of you today. From the cancellation of my briefing yesterday at the Hudson Institute to what we are now doing today at the National Press Club, there are many things that have happened in between which have made our effort very, very difficult. Particularly, something that made me extremely shocked was that we had prepared for everything, the whole team that I had put together, including the interpreters we had hired. All of them were so frightened that nobody dared to show up. But this is exactly why I, despite of the risk to my life, that I want to sit here at all costs to be able to meet with all of you. And also now I would like to give you just a little bit of background of myself. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Bill from the Freedom Beacon and Mr. Yang Jianli from the China Initiative for making all the preparations and go all out of their way to prepare for our meeting today. I would like to thank them for their effort. I would like to thank all of you for finding the time and to be able to come here in spite of probably some risks to yourselves as well. Thank you. I come from Rongcheng Shi of Xichun Wucheng County, Shenzhen area, Shandong province of China. I came from a farmer's background. My father later became a soldier. My mother was just a housewife and was illiterate. During the Counter-Revolution, my father was labeled some kind of a rightist and was sent into exile in the northeastern part of China to work in the kind of a labor camp. And he was beaten so much that his legs got broken twice. During the Counter-Revolution, several of my brothers were injured physically, knives and other things. And my mother got a nervous breakdown. And the reason I survived was my father managed to send me back to live with my uncle in Shandong, where I was able to attend school. In 1983, just before I was able to graduate from junior high, just a few days before, I left school and I started doing business, some kind of smuggling, this and that and next thing. And in 85, I got married to my wife, which was already something like 32 years ago. Tomorrow will be the 32nd anniversary of our wedding. My son was born in 86 and my daughter was born in 88, and they both grew up in England and they are leading very happy lives. In 1989, during the period of the military crackdown of the Democratic Rebellion, I sold my motorbike in order to raise money to donate to the students. At the same time, due to some kind of a trade dispute, my younger brother got involved to try to mediate, and there were two policemen who shot him dead. When the police were shooting at my younger brother, the first bullet hit my younger brother, but he did not die yet. And then the police kept shooting. The second bullet nearly got my wife, who was holding my daughter, who was only several months old. And my younger brother tried to prevent the police from hitting my wife with his elbow. So my wife was kept safe. And the third bullet was also kept and kind of held at a distance by my brother. But as a result, he was killed, and my wife and my daughter survived. And after that, I was put in jail for 22 months. And the crime they gave me was so-called anti-revolutionary, somebody from Shandong. And then they changed it to obstruction of justice and fraud. They said I engaged in fraud and stole somebody's money in the amount of 7,000 yuan. I was put in jail for 22 months, and then in 1991 I was released. And then after I started doing a real estate business. I started cooperating with businessmen from Hong Kong, Japan, the United States. First, I started working in Zhengzhou, which is the capital city of Henan province. I built the first 5-star hotel in Zhengzhou, and then I got to Beijing and built a 7-star dragon-style hotel, and also the Jingxing Square. So from then on, I went all the way into the real estate business, and also at the same time I also did some financial business. Then from then on I set myself a goal which I hid in my heart. That was to engage in revenge, not only for myself but for the whole of the Chinese people, for the injustices and the injuries and the deaths they had rendered to my younger brother, to my family members, my brothers, and my cousins, and to promote and bring about justice and equality in the whole country through overthrowing the existing system. And I started trying to do business in earnest and trying to save money, and accumulated a wealth of 17 billion US dollars. Based on that, I decided that I wanted to use that for my goals and to engage in some kind of revolutionary activities. All the 17 billion dollars US that I had accumulated is now all frozen by the Chinese government. In fact, during the past 28 years, when I started doing business, I did not get even one penny from overseas. I did not take any 1 cent from mainland China out of the country. All the money I had accumulated was made in China, and the people here, if you are interested, you can try and check me out and find out if what I'm saying is correct. And I had not evaded 1 cent of taxes in China, and I have had no criminal record whatsoever in China or abroad. And this record is open to be verified by anybody who cares to do that. And since I came abroad, I have also made a lot of money. Now I have the best house, private aircraft, yacht. So as far as my personal welfare and my personal needs are concerned, I have no other needs that I really desire. All that is no question at all. My only single goal that I set myself to try to achieve is to change China based on the so-called 7 principles that I have put forth for myself. As for my personal life, it is really quite boring. I don't want to waste all your time anymore. So now I want to answer your substantive questions.
Sure.
First beginning with Bill.
Great, thank you.
And then audience.
That's an amazing story, amazing story. I guess part of the controversy has been, it's been reported that the National Security Council of China has described you as a greater threat to China than the pro-democracy demonstrators in 1989. How could that be, and what do you think that they mean by that?
In order to answer Bill's first question, I would like to say that first of all, I want to circulate a document to all of you, a copy to all of you today, present. In fact, if you were in China, by holding on to this single document, you could be put in jail for 3 to 7 years. This is a top secret government document issued by the National Security Commission, General Office. And in fact, this document has already been authenticated by the US government as well as other Western governments to be a real Chinese government document. And originally we had planned to bring here several dozen documents for your file, for your reference. But then in the end we decided just to circulate this one document so far for now. And in order to save our time, I would like to ask James to just give you a little short summary of the highlights of this document. This document, in fact, is a document issued by the Chinese National Security Council General Office to put the stamp or to approve the document that was submitted to them by the State Security Ministry. And the State Security Ministry, through their document, they had asked for approval to send additional spies to the United States in 2017. And the mission that they wanted these added spies to do, and the number is 27, and to do was to use their state-owned enterprises, the managers working there, such as the branch of the Bank of China, as well as some other Chinese government-owned businesses, to enlarge their espionage work, to connect information, to try to train more turncoats, and also to engage in anti-espionage work, and to work on so-called important criminal suspects such as Lin Wancheng, Guo Wengui, Chen Muyang, etc. And if necessary, to work with the spies sent out by the United Front Department, the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Military Intelligence Department. They are tasked to penetrate even more deeply with a view to achieving their goals. And this request was approved.
Wow, that's an amazing disclosure. I know that we've in an interview we had earlier, you talked about this, so this is the actual proof, and I think that's fairly amazing. We were supposed to have this meeting at the Hudson Institute yesterday. It was postponed at the last minute. What's your comment about that? Do you want to address that?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Bill. The incident that took place yesterday derived from a decision made by the management of the Hudson Institute, which is completely unprincipled and is not following their own rules even. This proves convincingly that the Chinese government has a so-called BGY plan. B stands for blue, G gold, Y yellow. Blue referring to internet, gold referring to using money, yellow using women or pornography. And it shows that the Chinese government has already quite successfully, quite deeply, and quite widely penetrated different institutions or think tanks or even civil society in the United States with a view to try to bring their type of governance to the United States. Yesterday, I had prepared to show the audience 3 pieces of paper. In order for the American people to make their own judgments about the true nature of the Chinese government and the Chinese regime, as well as not only for the American people, but for the people in the West in general, Europe, Japan, and elsewhere, to be able to make their own judgments about the so-called term I have invented, country stealers, their true nature, and what they are doing to the Chinese people. By showing those 3 pieces of paper with the content contained, it would pose kind of a mortal and very dangerous threat to my wife and to all the employees working for me still in China. I was extremely shocked by what had happened, the decision the Hudson Institute management had made. Originally, I had anticipated by showing those 3 documents, my wife's life, my employee's life would be subject to extreme danger. Yet, I had decided, in spite of all the dangers that would pose to my relatives, I would still present those 3 documents to the public, to the world public, people in America, in Japan, in Europe, because I wanted to make a contribution to the security and safety of America and the American people, and of European peoples and Japanese people, the West in general. Yet after they made this decision, I was so shocked, and I met with some government officials in DC, and then after the meeting, I went to the toilet and I burned all those 3 documents. Those 3 documents are the original documents. They contain information which would have an impact on the life and death of numerous people in the United States, in Europe, and in Japan. But I burned those documents because originally I thought the US would be able to protect me and I would make a contribution to the security of this country. But then I was in doubt and I burned those documents.
Okay. Let's move on to the situation in China. The Party Congress is going to be held later this year. This is a major Communist Party event. What message would you like to give to the delegates to that Party Congress.
The message I wish to relay to all the delegates of the 19th Communist Party Congress is you guys need to wake up. You need to see through and see clearly the true nature of what I call the country stealers. These guys are a small mafia group. They do not govern China by any law that can be called laws at all. They have kidnapped the 90 million members of the Chinese Communist Party. They have kidnapped the 1.4 billion Chinese people, and they have posed a mortal threat to the livelihood of all the Chinese people through the incident such as the termination of the VOA's interview of me that had occurred several months ago, through all the so-called demonstration activities they have staged just downstairs of the building where I live, through posing threats and making real threatening statements and all the intimidation activities to the media of the Western world, and through hacking the cell phones, computers, iPads, whatnot, that belong to me, my family members, all my associates. They have shown that they are not really governing China or engaging in foreign policy by law, according to Chinese law or international law. They are just a tiny group of mafia, pure and simple. I would like all the members of the Chinese Communist Party to stand up, to be able to say no to this ruling clique in China. If they don't do that, this group will continue to pose even greater threat to their livelihoods, to the livelihoods of all their family members. They will try to persecute them by some cramped up charges such as rape, crime such as rape or adultery, anything they can make up to persecute you if they do not stand up and say no to this ruling clique, and if the world does not oppose them.
Yeah, good. Thank you. In your videos and interviews, you've spoken in particular about one of the senior Chinese leaders, Wang Qishan, and others who are at the top echelon of the Chinese government. This is significant because Wang Qishan is supposed to be leading the major anti-corruption drive throughout China. And yet, what you've revealed is that Wang Qishan himself is involved in extensive corruption, sending billions abroad. Could you address the situation with Wang Qishan?
Mr. Wang Qishan is a member of the Standing Committee of the Chinese Communist Party of China. For the past 5 years, he has been the leader of the Chinese Communist Party's anti-corruption effort. Even though he is a leader, the activities he has done so far, he has put 1 million so-called corrupt officials in jail, and 10 million of their family members have been affected, not really through a due process of law, but just through his own mechanism, the so-called party disciplinary mechanism. Yet, at the same time, through my research and investigation, I have found that this guy, Wang Qishan, and his family members, such as his wife, Yao Mingshan, who holds a U.S. passport and lives in the United States, and Sun Yao, a adopted daughter of Wang Qishan and Yao Mingshan. Sun Yao has control over $1 trillion US, and there's also 姚明关Yao Ming Rui and Yao Ming something, a sister of Yao Ming Shan, who used to collaborate with them. And also there's the Liu Chenjie, so-called stepson, or adopted son of Wang Qishan and Yao Mingshan, and also Guan Jun. I have found an illegitimate son of Wang Qishan. Through all this circle, they are now controlling 52% of the Hong Kong of the Hainan airline group, and also they control a company called Guohai Jinkong, which is located in China. Through that, they are now able to control 20 trillion Chinese yuan.
That's good. Okay. You mentioned in a recent Washington Times op-ed piece that China has a long-term plan to subvert the United States, subvert American democracy in particular. Please address that. What are the kinds of things that they're doing? We know that they have large numbers of intelligence officials.
Whenever I talk about America, I feel very, very emotional. I even feel like talking in English, but my English is very poor, it's not good enough. I love America greatly. But when I was in China, when I was growing up, the Chinese Communist Party propaganda that we were constantly subjected to was always telling us that America is a bad country, it's a capitalist bad country. Yet, in the process of growing up, I had to learn independently what the United States was about. And during the past 3 years, I had to learn even more. That the United States is indeed a great country. Yet, in China, the Chinese people were taught that the United States was meaning harm to China and is China's kind of an enemy. 2 days ago, there occurred an incident in Las Vegas. If you watch Chinese TV and if you care to listen to their propaganda, they spend all their time reporting the incident in Las Vegas. But what is happening, the gun battle and the casualties that occur daily, constantly in any part of China, they don't report it at all. Yet, they look at reporting the incident in Las Vegas, and it's constant, 24 hours, constant. And they are, in fact, at heart, they're very happy about it. I wish to inform all my American friends and American compatriots that the Chinese Communist regime has two well-established, well-formulated plans. One is what I just talked about, so-called DGY plan, and the second plan is the so-called 3F plan. And for the second plan, the purpose of that plan is to weaken the United States, to bring about turmoil in the United States, and number three, to decimate the United States. And these plans actually exist. I want to swear and inform you that these plans indeed are real, and they are life and death. They have an impact on the life and death of people. Yet, the implementation of these plans has been successful and has been fast, as far as they are concerned. These plans pose great threat to the American people, to their properties, and they are 100 times or even 1,000 times more threatening than the incident that took place on September the 11th, 2001. So I don't want the American people to ignore the existence of these plans, but to be careful about it. I don't want what had happened in 1993, a small bombing event in the Twin Towers, which was ignored by most people, and then it led to the 2001 collapsing of the two towers due to terrorist attack. Another incident was Japanese propaganda of invasion of Asia ignored by most people, and then it led to the Pearl Harbor.
Okay, great. My last question before we open it up to questions here has to do with what I call the phenomena of guo on social media. You've become kind of a sensation on Twitter, and I'm sure in social media in China as well. What's the future, and how do you see social media as a means to get your message out?
The social media and the autonomous media was something that was created by Americans. Yet now many Chinese have already started using it, including me myself. I think my own way of using the autonomous media, social media, in my own way, has kind of brought a new era to the Chinese people's effort to apply social media to discuss Chinese issues. Yet, we all know that the Chinese regime has created a so-called Great Firewall to try to keep the information they don't like outside that Great Wall. This has come into great conflict with the free media and the autonomous media created by Americans. So the conflict between American civil society and the Chinese regime. In my own view, I am completely confident that through our efforts, we will eventually puncture this so-called Great Firewall set up by the Chinese regime.
Great. Okay, let's take questions. Please identify yourself, and if you have an affiliation, please do so.
Well, I think I earned my right to have the first question. Well, Sasha Gong used to be in Voice of America, not anymore. Well, actually, not officially there. So my question is that last time when I interviewed you on April 19th, and in the middle of the interview, our interview was cut short by order of Washington. And later we discussed about that, and you said you assumed that was an act of a Chinese infiltration, Chinese agent. So I would like you to elaborate a little bit here, because it's, well, my colleague is here also. And also this, I wonder if you can elaborate more about Chinese infiltration and Chinese spy network inside the United States, and what kind of harm they are doing to the United States. And do I need to speak?
It is a great pleasure for me to meet with Sasha Gong again. I used to be your follower, I'm still one of your fans. Yet during your interview, it was cut short. The VOA's interview of me, and also your colleague Dong Fang, he was there also. What I want to say to you is the successful termination of your interview of me is a direct result of the implementation of the so-called BGY plan. While you were talking with me or interviewing me, telling me when I was at home, or you were at my home, I got a call from some people in the Ministry of State Security. He told me, we will never let you finish your interview or do your interview. We would mobilize all our, what he called, silent forces, referring to spies, to prevent you from doing this interview. And he even mentioned, we have a guy by the name of Zhang Jing. At that time, I even did not know who Zhang Jing was. Who is our guy? Who works in the VOA? Who is our guy? And through him, we will prevent you from doing this interview successfully. and there's a lot more information that I can add, but I don't want to waste all your time.
Sorry, next question.
下一个。
I'm Miranda Howdy from NPR. So can you tell us exactly what the Hudson Institute
NPR.
what exactly did the Hudson Institute tell you for why they were calling off your talk? And can you explain exactly what you think happened from the you say you think you were interrupted by the Chinese government. Can you say exactly how that happened?
My colleague, somebody who works for me, got an email from the management of the Hudson Institute, and it's in written form. It's evidence. They told me that over the past few days, they have been subjected to extreme level of pressure from the Chinese government. The Chinese embassy here phoned them repeatedly, and they to ask them to terminate this interview that originally would have occurred yesterday. They also threatened that since there were people from the Hudson Institute who were applying for visas to go to China, if that event would not be cancelled, the visas would not be granted. It is similar to what had happened to the VOA. They had threatened to shut off the VOA office in Beijing if VOA would not cancel their interview of me in April, as Sasha Gu has just mentioned. So we have a text to prove this. Also, I have received calls from, and my colleagues have received calls from Beijing, from the Chinese authorities. They have been threatening us, and so much so that even some sponsors of the event yesterday from the Hudson Institute side, they were so afraid that they backed out. And the threat they made to me is as follows. This is not behind the scene. They said, if you do not, we would go all the way, and we would mobilize all our resources to prevent you from doing this interview. If you still want to do it, then we would arrest your relatives, your employees, and they have already arrested one of my partners. And they said they would arrest more, and they would mobilize their so-called silent forces, meaning spies, in the United States to prevent me from doing that. And also they have threatened the people who have dealings with this and that and other companies, and since they would adversely affect private individuals, I will not mention their names so much.
All right, another question. How about here, right here? This gentleman? Yeah.
Okay, I'm
So
from.
please shorten your question. In the
Okay,
interest of time.
I'm from Voice of America. When you talked about the cutoff of your interview with Voice of America, you said you believe it was a significant event because it fundamentally weakened the foundation of American freedom and democracy. What's your opinion on the Hudson Institute postponement of your interview? Do you think these two events fundamentally weakened the foundation of American democracy and freedom? Secondly, do you listen to Voice of America? Did you listen to Voice of America when you were in China? Why did you choose Voice of America at the beginning of April? And what do you think of Voice of America now? Thank you.
Thank you. I can say for certainty that what had happened at VOA, the incident terminating your interview of me, is a direct result of the work done by the so-called BYG network, BGY organized by the Chinese government. I think the successful effort carried out by the BGY network during your interview of me in April, as well as their success in preventing the Hudson Institute from giving me organizing a seminar through inviting me to speak, is not only their effort to destroy freedom and democracy, which is the basis of the American way of governance. It has already constituted clear and present danger, not only to the United States, to free media, but to the safety and security of the American people. I think everyone present represents a media organization. And I would ask you to look around yourselves and ask who among your colleagues or your associates or news outlets that you have some kind of association with, you have dealt with, has already been either bought over by BGY network or is being influenced and targeted as a possible object of their influence, with a view to turning those people into their collaborators. If you care to look around and find out. So I would beseech you that we should really not take this very lightly. Through the incidents that have occurred to me, that it is high time the American free media really woke up and pay attention to all these incidents and be careful of the threats.
Okay, gentleman right there, and then
Burton Wise, pro bono counsel to Dr. Yan and the Initiatives for China. Two related questions related to your security. I gather that China has asked the Interpol to issue a red notice, which many people not be familiar with, but any member of Interpol can ask that they issue a red notice, and then other countries are supposed to arrest the person, which is used by a lot of dictatorships to go after their dissidents. And secondly, related to that, I also understand that you're seeking sanctuary here, asylum or otherwise, but the U.S. government obviously is trying to work with China on many issues, including Korea. Do you feel that the U.S. appreciates adequately the dangers you would face if you went back of almost certain torture, false confession, and execution? And are you satisfied that they are aware of that?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you for this very pertinent question that you have raised to me. What I would like to say is the possibility of the United States seeking Chinese help to resolve the North Korean nuclear issue is zero. If the United States government would accept some of my own recommendations, I think I could be of much greater help to the US government than the Chinese government ever can do. Because there are very, very few people around the world who have known family members of Kim Jong-un, as well as met with Kim Jong-un himself, including the internal meetings held by the high echelons of the Chinese government or their think tank people, their advisors. I had the opportunity and good luck to participate in several of such meetings and had obtained pertinent information from their internal meetings discussing how to deal with the United States and how to deal with North Korea. I have already prepared a package of information that I will provide to the US government, which is considered by the Chinese government top secret information. I think by obtaining this document, it will be of great help to the US effort to resolve the North Korean issue. The Chinese government, by offering some kind of help to the United States, also years, hopefully some years, in their dealings with the United States, they have not lost even once. They have always won in negotiating any issue, in working on any issue in the Chinese-US government. This time, they think they will win again. They have so far issued one so-called red notice so far. As for my safety, I do not worry at all. I trust American law. I trust the system of rule of law in the United States. And also at the same time, by the way, there's no second Owen way. I'm the only one. I am the person who knows the BGY system and the plan and organization. I know their 3F plan, and I can be of great benefit to the US government, and there's no other person who can substitute me. So either from the aspect of law or value or system, I think I'm irreplaceable. So I am not worried at all.
Good, thanks. In the back there? Yeah.
你好，可以。
你自己翻译干嘛？
教练，讲不了。OK。The officials you have reviewed so far, all the corrupt officials, tend to be male. So are you kind of putting more emphasis on males and neglecting women? There are two people by the name of Liu Yandong and Sun Chenlan. They are Politburo members. They have portfolios including education, etc. But they are doing lousy jobs. So can you give us some information on the female corrupt officials in China?
首先赵岩先生，谢谢你啊。犯罪这个我爆料不选择男女，根据我的计划来。
Concerning my disclosure of corrupt officials, I do not discriminate against women or against men. I follow my own plan in disclosing. You mentioned the name Liu Yandong, who is the vice premier in China, responsible for education, etc. His family members, such as his husband, her daughter, her husband, her son-in-law, have had dealings with me through the connection of them being partners of Liu's company, Beida Fangzhen company. They have engaged definitely in extremely corrupt practices. They will come second during my second phase of revelation of corruption cases in China. So please be just a little bit patient.
Hi, Bill.
Okay, one more.
Bill?
Got a couple more questions. All right, go ahead.
This is Gregory Ho from Radio Free Asia. Okay, let's make it simple. This is Gregory Ho from Radio Free Asia. My question is about, since you have already handed over a so-called top secret document that shows there is a Public Security Bureau police, 27 something, one of it is Mr. He Jianfeng. I tried to Google it, there's so many He Jianfeng on the internet. So can you give us a little bit insight of who this He Jianfeng is? Do you have his photo? And how about the other 27 MSB person? where are they in the? Are they already in the soil of the United States? Where are they now? And what are their positions? I'm also concerned about the date that, since according to this top secret document, it is on around April, which is days after your allegation that revealed the secrecy of the CCP on VOA, which made me a little bit doubt that how would you still have such kind of connection with the top people, so-called 老领导? They are willing to provide you information. So what on earth, when do you get this document? I also want to ask about the three so-called documents that you have already trashed, burned it in the toilet. If you don't mind that, can you tell us more? What are those documents? Thank you.
Mr. He Jianfeng has three titles. He works in the Ministry of State Security, is an official there. He also works for the National State Security Council. His main responsibility is in controlling the spy network in the United States and the responsibility for engaging in espionage in the United States. Besides these 27, 28 people that they said they would send to the United States, I have learned that after that they sent 50 also more people to the United States. And these 27 also people work in the Bank of China branch in New York, in the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C., and in their various consulates. Some people have the erroneous perception that all my documents only came out before 2015. I would like to refute that misperception. In fact, I am able to obtain any top secret Chinese kleptocracy's documents anytime, from anywhere. The reason is the 90 million members of the Communist Party are our great friends. The Chinese people and the bureaucrats working in the Chinese government are our friends. All of them are eager to see the overthrow of the Chinese kleptocracy, because all of them think that what the Chinese kleptocracy is doing to the American people, to world peace, and to the security of Chinese and Western individuals and citizens are very, very harmful activities. They object greatly. So I'd like to tell you, we have friends all over the world, and we have friends throughout the Chinese government system. I will not talk about the three documents I burned today.
What last question over here?
让王宇说一下好不好？
Okay.
那咱最后一个，王宇你说完让咱这个。
我会提问，需要我翻译吗 ？Okay. Two questions. The first question is that you met a couple of American high-ranking officers. Who are they? How did they treat you? And what did they want to know from you? The other question is that, as you said several days ago, the Chinese government has sent a lot of people to Dharamsala, and what their plan. And among them is a person whose name is He Xiaochu, or who is he?
Okay. Concerning the titles and the names of the American officials who I had met, I have signed the non-disclosure agreement with them, so I'm not in a position to review their names. They trying to collect some information, and they are trying to help a citizen, a private citizen. So I cannot review that. I apologize. Secondly, concerning the Dharamsala incident, It is a vice minister of the Ministry of State Security who led a group of people that went to Dar es Salaam. Their purpose was to do harm to people led by Mr. Yang Jieli, to visit Dar es Salaam and to interact with the people there in India. After I heard this information, I warned Mr. Yang to be careful. As a result, originally they wanted probably to kidnap him or do something harmful to him. And they would do something harmful to his relatives. And indeed, that had happened. They did something very harmful to Mr. Yang's relatives. But since I had to pre-warn Mr. Yang, they were not able to harm him. Concerning this incident with Ms. Su, I will not review that. And just now, I forgot to interpret something. We have even current members of the Standing Committee of the Communist Party Security Bureau who are providing me with documents. So they are people among my informants. This is something I also want to
Okay, we're
cover.
running out of time here. We'll do two more questions. It'll be first we'll have you here and then over there. Okay?
Here.
Right
Here,
here, right here, right here.
Hello. Thank you. I'm Kate O'Keefe with the Wall Street Journal here in Washington. I wanted to get an update on your asylum application. I read that your initial lawyer stopped working on the case after their law firm encountered some trouble. And I wanted to know if you found another lawyer and if you could elaborate on what happened with the first lawyer, and also if you've had any luck on working toward getting asylum, possibly any meetings that you've had here in DC that would be relevant to that.
Before he answers that, I would add, I wrote about this, and what happened was a Chinese hacker stole the documents and posted them on Twitter. And just recently, Twitter had suspended the account where the hacked documents were shown.
I would like to thank you for raising this question. Thomas something else is one of my lawyers who was processing my political asylum case. But his law firm has subsidiaries in Asia and in China, and they are all being threatened by the Chinese government. So he has decided to back out. But my case is in good standing. I have over a dozen or so lawyers who are working for me. So I'm not worried at all. I want to thank you for raising this.
Okay, last question here.
Thank you. I'm Omar Kalam from Uyghur Human Rights Project. And my question is, I have two questions. First, Uyghurs are one of the groups that face intimidation and threats overseas by the Chinese government, including through use of the red notice system. What can the US government and society do to help lessen the effect of the Chinese government's influence overseas? The second question is, I'm very interested to know your views about the Chinese government's ongoing crackdown on Uyghur people, and how do you think the Uyghur issue should be solved? Thank you.
Thank you for this question. Since my former close friend, Mr. Ma Jian, Deputy Minister of the Ministry of State Security, was also responsible for Xinjiang affairs. So he shared a great deal of information regarding Xinjiang and the truth about what's happening in Xinjiang. In fact, the stories you read about in the Western or Chinese press are really not comparable with what is actually happening in Xinjiang. And the things that are actually happening in Xinjiang are many, many times more frightening than the things you read in the public media. In the future, I have already planned to provide a package of information, facts to the relevant US government departments. What I wish to do, and it's not just pertaining to the Uyghur people in Xinjiang, but also the Tibetans in China. I would like to expose the lies which have been constantly churned out by the Chinese kleptocracy. I think these facts will tell their own stories and will be very, very convincing to the readers. And what I hoped and I think by getting to know these facts about the true nature of what the regime is doing in Tibet and Xinjiang, this will change their way of thinking towards the Chinese regime concerning their practice and policy in Tibet and Xinjiang. And so just by trying to make suggestions to them to improve the situation in those two places is really, really not enough. Because what they are doing is against humanity. So what the US government ought to do is to take action instead of just talking with the Chinese kleptocracy.
Okay, on behalf of Miles and James, I want to thank you all very much for coming.
Lastly, I would like to pass on a message through all the news outlets represented here to warn the peoples living in the free world, including Americans, Europeans, Japanese, that darkness will befall and really nasty things will happen. And what I'm telling you, I can swear for it. So just be careful. This is my last message, and I would like you to pass this on to all your audiences throughout the free world.
Okay.
God bless America. God bless everybody. Thank you.